Hello, welcome back to YouTube with me. I haven't done one of these for ages. And today I'm going to be talking you through my journey, 14 years of being a personal trainer, coach, business owner, athlete, what I've learned along the way. I've got a load of questions. I put a question box out on Instagram and I have got loads, but they are really good questions. So I'm going to do my makeup and I'm going to talk you through my journey and scatter these questions in along the way. So I qualified as a PT when I was 21. I'm now 34, nearly 35. So I've been in the industry for a long time. And when I started, it was a little bit like by default, if I'm honest, because I actually was looking to join the police force. Because to be honest, I didn't really know what else I was going to do with my life. And then it was actually my triathlon coach that was like, have you not thought about doing personal training? And I was like, why the hell have I not even thought about that? So anyway, cutting a very long story short, I went on to do my personal training qualification, and then I've been doing that ever since. I started, so years and years ago, I used to be a competitive horse rider. I've had horses since the age of 3 years old. Then I got into doing running and triathlons. Since then, I transitioned into doing bodybuilding, bikini competitions, and wellness. And then now I don't compete anymore. I just train to stay in good shape because it's important to me. And I obviously run a global transformation company. So for me, that is my main focus as it stands. So I absolutely love what I do. Absolutely love what I do. I can't imagine my life any other way. Like, I literally eat, sleep, and breathe it. I'm so thankful for the industry for what it's given me, because the majority of my friends and close people to me are from the fitness industry. So with a few questions, I just want to start going through because there's a lot. So the first question that I have actually leads me, the conversation leads me to this quite nicely, was, what was your dream as a little girl? Is there any other direction that you could have gone? And as a little girl, other than wanting to be in the Spice Girls, I think because I used to do horse riding, so when I was growing up, that was kind of the direction that I thought my life was going to go. I just thought, because I did show jumping, so I didn't know anything else. I was just literally horses. Like, I worked with horses, I competed a lot with horses, I loved it. So I kind of thought, I guess, that was the way that life was going to go. And then when I was doing my GCSEs, I was always sporty at school as well. But then when I was doing my GCSEs, I did GCSE PE, then went on to do A-level PE, fell in love with sport, fitness, and everything about that. And then my path kind of changed as I got into my late teens and early 20s. So I guess I could have been continued working with horses. And then the only other thing was, I was looking to join the police force, but I'm so glad that I didn't. Not that there's anything wrong with that, it's just it would not have been aligned with me and what I enjoy doing. So I'm so blessed and so grateful for what I do, because I honestly could not love it anymore. So that's that one. This one is my tip on staying consistent and the common mistakes that people make. So I guess it depends on, like, consistent in what. But I think the most important thing here with this is to be consistent. You have to A, know where you're going. B, it has to be important to you. And C, you have to have a clear direction on how you're going to get there. Because otherwise you can be really consistent in things, but you can be consistent in the wrong things. That then leads you to being frustrated at not getting the result that you want and then sacking it off. So for me, being consistent with, let's say with my training and my nutrition. My training, I'm consistent. It's important to me. I want to look good. I feel it's my responsibility as a coach to lead by example, and a responsibility as a business owner to lead my team by example. So it's important to me, and I also enjoy it. Are there days where I'm not motivated and I can't be asked? Yes, of course. But on the whole, I do genuinely enjoy it. So my tips on staying consistent is figure out what you want, figure out why it's important to you, and then act accordingly with that. Because if you're not consistent, ultimately you're not going to get to where you want to be, or at the very least, you're not going to get as much out of it as what you possibly could. So that will be my biggest tip. In regards to being consistent with nutrition, again, you have to know what you're being consistent for, because otherwise you're just kind of like why am I even fucking doing this? So it's really important to understand what you're being consistent for, and then plan and organise in a way that works around you and your lifestyle. Common mistakes that people make is they just don't organize themselves, and quite frankly they just make excuses as to why they can't do stuff, because they have poor time management skills, poor organization skills, and ultimately it's just not actually that important to them. So that would be the way that I would go about that one. Do you find it hard to ever schedule time for yourself when the business and training takes up so much of your day? Now, this is how I'm going to answer this is, listen, training and my business is my life. I don't view it as two separate things. I don't view it as training, business, personal time. I go to the gym, it's sociable. My friends are there, I enjoy it, I love training, it's my community. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I want to put my headphones in and just not speak to other people, but it is my time, I love it. And I also love the business. It's not something where I feel like I need to have time away from it. The reason I have time away from it is to reset my brain, to mean that I'm fresh brained, is that the word? Fresh to give the team the best I can and the clients the best I can. But it's not because I don't enjoy it, it's just because having that time away means I have more creative ideas for social media, etc. But I'll be honest, I have very, very little time away. Like myself and Simon, we have Saturday afternoon off where we will go and do something, whether that's like we'll go and get some food, we'll go and play top golf, or we'll go and just go for like a walk and get a coffee, that kind of thing. Sometimes we'll go to the beach. So that's our kind of time. Other than that, during the week, I probably have a little bit of time where I go and get a coffee on my own, and maybe I go and lie by the pool for an hour a week, perhaps, if I have time. And when I'm there, I will either listen to podcasts or I'll be brainstorming ideas for content and whatnot. So I don't really have any other time, but I genuinely love what I do, and it's by choice, not because I have to. How did you and Simon meet? So this is like, so I'm not going to go on too long on this one, but we met in the gym, sort of. So I used to make cakes, like wedding cakes and birthday cakes and stuff. And he messaged me asking for a cheesecake after he'd done a photo shoot with Chris Bailey. Had no idea who Simon was, and he came to pick this cheesecake up. And then I saw him in the gym a couple of months later. We got talking, and I basically just invited myself to go and train with him. And then he's been stuck with me ever since. And then another question I had, which will touch on this, is when are you getting married and where are you going on your honeymoon? So we actually get married next March, well this March coming, the 7th, which is the day before my birthday. Honeymoon, we're not going away straight away, because after the wedding, typical Georgia and Simon style, we have an event in London, a fitness event in London that we're doing, and we also have client photo shoots. So that will be our immediate honeymoon, but that again is by choice. And then for actual honeymoon, we are going to be going to Santorini, but it will be a little bit later in the year when things are a bit quieter within the business. How do you keep yourself motivated as a business owner, and how do I keep coming up with ideas for content? So keep myself motivated because it's important to me and I genuinely love what I do. There are days, of course, like people always think, oh, is it, you know, you're good at this, you must just always be motivated. And I'm not. I'm just good at doing the things that I need to do when I'm not motivated, because of the outcome that I want from whatever that is. So if it's things within the business, there's an outcome I want within the business. So I do what is necessary to get that done, even if I can't be asked to do it, because the outcome is important to me. The same with training. Not always can I be bothered to train, but the outcome of looking good and feeling good is important to me, so I just get it done regardless. That never goes away. You don't ever just become motivated all the time. You just get good at doing things when, quite frankly, you can't be asked to do them. And when it comes to ideas for content, I use different things. So I use like when people message me questions over social media, when I speak to people on calls, the common difficulties, the common struggles that people have, and all of my years of working on the gym floor, the questions that people ask are always the same. They're always repetitive. The issues that people have, it's always the same. You know, the amount of times people come up to me and go, George, how do I just get rid of this little bit here, or this little bit here, or I just don't have time, or, you know, I struggle because I've got bad knees, or I struggle because I have PCOS, or menopause, or my family's not supportive of me, and all of those things. So I use my experience of what do women that are the women that I want to work with, what do they struggle with the most, and I use that within my content. So it's kind of never ending, but I will sit quietly, you know, and come up with ideas that way. And I find a lot of the time when I'm just walking about with my headphones on and just thinking is where I'll get a lot of my ideas. So, at what point in your journey did you realise you had a problem with your relationship with food? So, with this, I really need a new eyebrow pencil. That is one thing. I actually never had a problem with food at all until after my first bikini competition. So even when I was doing all of my triathlons and all of that kind of stuff, I never really had an issue with food at all. I just ate what I wanted. I was always conscious of eating right to fuel my body and whatnot, but I never had an actual issue with food. The issue with food came when I dieted really hard for my first ever bikini show. I actually fucking nailed the diet, right? I did not fuck up once. I was on it, on point. And everyone kept saying to me that after the show is harder than the prep. And I was like, it can't be. How the fuck can anything be harder than this? This is absolutely horrendous. And then after the show, I was just, quite frankly, so fed up of being hungry that I was like, I don't care if I put weight on, I just want to eat. So I did, and I put weight on very quickly, felt extremely uncomfortable in my body, was conscious that people were looking at me, and so I then went back onto like prep mode in a bid to get rid of the weight and to feel better. I was hungry, I didn't want to diet, but I didn't want to get fat, and I wanted to lose weight. So I was kind of stuck in this cycle where I would severely undereat during the week, and then eat like an absolute arsehole at the weekend. And that cycle went on for probably about 3.5, 4 years. I felt so stuck, I didn't know how to get out of it. I felt like I was possessed around food. I have got a whole nother YouTube on that. So if you look further down my page, you will see a whole video I did on that. But I felt so stuck. I felt so incredibly stuck and thinking, is this really what it takes to be in shape? Because if it is, at that point, I didn't even want to be in the fitness industry. I was so miserable. And it ruined my life, quite frankly. There's so many memories that are tarnished with severely poor relationship with food. But yeah, I remember, because I was kind of in denial with it to start off with, and I just kind of thought this is just normal, like post show. And then it went on obviously for a long time. And I remember, because one of the things I used to do, because I used to be an endurance athlete, I used to do triathlons. So when I was struggling with overeating, I would use exercise as a way of trying to burn off what I'd ate. So I would literally run for hours, or go on the cross trainer for hours, or swim for hours, or a combination of the lot. And I remember I was on the cross trainer after binging the night before, and I just remember thinking, I'm fucking exhausted. Like, I cannot live the rest of my life like this. And it was then when I kind of was like, right, this is a serious issue. And I need to fucking do something about this, because I refuse to let this take over my life for any longer. So it was at that point, and I'll never ever forget it. I remember the cross trainer I was on, I remember the gym that I was in, and I just remember like having that honest conversation with myself as to like, this has got to fucking stop. And I think it was at that point where I really realised that there was actually a problem. So yeah, I won't go into that too much. As I say, there's a whole other video, but that would be the point I realised. Do you think it's easier to stay in shape seen as that training is your business? No, I don't think it makes any difference. If I'm being totally honest, I think it would be easier to stay in shape just doing like a regular 9 to 5 job or something, where your routine is so fixed and there's less stress than there is of running a business. I think it's easier because I know how to, of course. I know how to stay in shape, so that's easy. Whereas a lot of people are trying a million and one different things that they've perhaps heard online and they're not actually sure what they're doing, and that's half the problem. So it's easy because I know how to stay in shape and I know how to do it in quite an easy way that's fits in with my life easy and it actually improves my life. So yes, on that part, but not from a time management point of view. Running a business is fucking stressful and we never ever stop. So definitely I have to carve the time out for it, otherwise it just wouldn't happen. I do also think that I do feel that there is a pressure, not a pressure, the standards that I have to live up to and I want to live up to, because my business is reflective of I get people in shape. Therefore, I have to lead from the front and I have to be in shape. And also the team, I have to lead them from the front. So I think having that, it's important for me personally, but it's also important to me because of the business, because I'm an advert for the business. That also means that it's more likely that I'm going to stay looking good because it's of high importance to me. How is your makeup always so perfect? I think, do you know, it's not, but I think it really helps that my skin's so good. I don't have any issues with my skin. I don't have oily skin. I don't have acne. I don't have dry patches. Like, it's really good. And that is not by coincidence. That is because I drink a shitload of water, I eat well, and I don't fuck about with my skin. Like, so many people, I believe, are like, oh, I use this fucking moisturizer and I have 65 facials a week and I do cleansing, toning, moisturizing. Like, I don't do any of that. I'm so lazy. I take my makeup off with a makeup remover wipe, a Johnson's one, and then probably put moisturizer on like twice a week. I literally just leave my skin to do its skin thing. I eat well, I stay hydrated, and that means that because the skin is it's smooth, the makeup goes on a lot easier. So there's that. I don't use anything expensive when it comes to makeup. Just the only thing expensive I use actually is my eyeshadow. The rest of it is all just cheapo stuff because in my opinion, after trying so many brands, it really doesn't make any difference. It's about the skin that it's going on and it's about how you apply it. How do you fit everything in with planning, food, etc.? So I do, because if I don't plan to perfection, then my whole life will go to shit. And if I'm not organised and I don't have my shit together, I cannot expect myself to organise other people and help them get their shit together. That includes the girls that work for us. It also includes the clients. So I have to have my shit together. And if I don't, everything goes to pot. So it's very important to me that I organise. So I sit down at the beginning of each week, map out what I'm doing, what calls I've got on, what filming we've got on, or what's going on with training, etc. And I just make sure that I'm on my A game with it. When it comes to food, I make things super easy. So we actually have a meal prep company. They deliver our meals every single day to our door, and that saves us having to cook. So they do lunch and like evening meal. Then breakfast is just oats, so that's easy, and then yogurt in the evening meal. So that saves a lot of time. That's not something that we've always done. It's not something that, probably I think 3 of our clients use meal prep companies, the rest cook their own food, because ultimately if you're organised and you're cooking in advance and you've got stuff that's just easy and quick to throw together in 15 minutes, like maximum, you don't need to be cooking everything from scratch. It shouldn't be taking you loads of time. You get an air fryer, stick things in there. It can be so quick and easy to eat well nowadays. You don't have to be doing all of these TikTok fancy recipes and whatnot. Make your life as easy as possible. Plan your food. One of the biggest things I would say that helps, and this is really relevant when it comes to our clients as well, is having a structure with food and not just winging it, eating random shit different days and having a huge amount of variety. Our most successful clients don't have a huge amount of variety. A, because they're busy and they haven't got time for it. B, because it's easy to do their food shop, their meal prep. C, it's easier to monitor progress, and progress is how they are driven. They are results-driven people. And having things consistent on a week-by-week basis means it's consistent to see results, and it's easy to know what to manipulate if things are not going perhaps as quick as we want them to. So that is something, traits that I have noticed. Not everybody, some of our clients do like to have more variety, and that's okay. But generally speaking, the people that have lesser options on their meal plan, and they are just like go into kind of robot mode and stay consistent, they are the people that get the better results. So that's something to bear in mind also. Now, do I train at the same time every single day? Pretty much, yes. That's just because it fits in well with our work schedule. However, depending on where we are in the world, we will change. So when we're in the UK, we change at a different time versus when we're in Dubai. And that's because it will always be where clients' calls and stuff will stay the same, and then we change around it where we have our block. So depending on the time difference is how we do that. But yeah, we always train at the same time. Just because it works better from a structure point of view. Everything we do is like military operation structured, and that's super important. Whose idea was GS coaching? Well, I actually can't remember. So we were both coaches, and we were both kind of doing it separately but then together at the same time. So it was just kind of like a conversation that we had where we were like, this just makes sense to just put it together as a company. Because some of my girls find Simon really inspiring to talk to because of his own journey, and then sometimes I would be helping Simon with his women with like PCOS and like endometriosis, menopause, that kind of stuff. So it just works well that we combine the two. Like I have my clients, he has his clients, but we do marry the two together because we have different strengths and weaknesses of things that we're really good at. So that's why we worked with that. Proudest moment of the year, definitely bringing my parents over here without a shadow of a doubt. Who inspires you? There's plenty of people that inspire me. Tom Platts, if you don't know, get to know. In regards to training and mindset, the guy is just absolutely incredible. So I would say him. People that have inspired me through my life, like my triathlon coach, Craig, has always inspired me with his like work ethic and how he is with it as a coach. And he's been kind of with me every step of the way throughout my entire journey, even now. So he's been quite an influential person in my life. I have a lot to thank him for, and he probably doesn't even realise that. So maybe I should tell him or get him to watch this. At what point in your okay, so I've already done that. So I feel like I've missed a question off. So what did I think when I started all of this, and how did we make it so successful? I think so it was always, I mean, I've coached for so many years, it's kind of like natural progression with it. But honestly, how to make a business successful, I think, speaking personally, you have to do something that you enjoy doing. It's so important. I also think you have to be willing to fucking work hard, like really hard. Like I've always prided myself on being a grafter, but getting a business off the ground required huge sacrifice and a huge amount of work ethic and resilience, and that never goes away. You just get better at it. It's kind of like training. It doesn't get easier, you just get more resilient to it. You get stronger, you get better at dealing with your emotions, which is something that I'm still working on. I think it's always a work in progress. But I think one of the biggest reasons that our company has been so successful is quite simply getting results. So important. Like ultimately getting results and genuinely giving a shit about the people that you work with, because their life is quite frankly in your hands. They are paying you to transform their life, transform their relationship with food, sometimes the relationship with their partner, the way that they run their businesses or their career, their kids. It literally has an effect on the entire life of that person. So you have to give a shit about what you're doing working with these people. And when you give a shit, you get more results. When you get more results, you get more referrals, you get more clients, the business grows, you get a better reputation. So it is literally that. Like, you know, people can say, oh, you need to do this and this to have a successful business. But for me personally, it's just about actually loving what I do, really giving a shit about the people that I work with, and getting them the result that they want. Come hell or high water, we will get you the result that you want and that you need. And that's so important to us. And yeah, as I say, just being willing to really fucking work hard, work really, really hard. Just getting my eyelashes ready now. But I think I've answered all of the questions. One of the questions which I'll just answer, which is which area of my body is the strongest. I actually think my back. I think the reason for that was so many years swimming, so many years horse riding. My back, even though I don't really train it as much now at all, is still quite freakishly strong. So yeah, that's covered all of the questions, and I guess kind of like going on, just giving you a bit more of an insight as to kind of like my journey. I've kind of done everything. So I started as a gym floor personal trainer. I did that for 6 years, as well as teaching loads of Les Mills classes, like spin, well, RPM it was, but spin also, circuits, insanity, all of those kind of things, legs, bums, and tums. And you know what? People slag off exercise classes, and yes, okay, they're not the best when it comes to getting results, but getting people in a gym, building a community, and getting them confident, absolutely brilliant. So then I did that. Then I went into gym management for a little bit, which, if I'm honest, I didn't really enjoy. I just kind of did it because at the time it was, everyone always says you should have a safe, steady income and, work for a corporate company. It's the best way to go. But I just felt so disaligned with what it was that I'd actually got into the industry for. I wanted to help people. I wanted to have an impact on people's lives. I wanted to be inspirational to people. I wanted to have significance. That was so important to me. And I just didn't feel like I had that working as a gym manager. I was just filling in spreadsheets. Essentially, I was just working for a corporate company that could have been any company. And other than actually interacting with members on the gym floor, you don't have that much of an influence on them. And that was so important to me. So I felt so disaligned, hence why I went back into just coaching. And it's the best decision that I've ever made. So then, obviously, the business has just gone from there. It's just grown, it's just grown, it's just grown. Our reputation has grown. Our, can't really talk at the same time as doing this. Our brand has grown, and it's just gone from there. And as I say, I think it comes from a combination of getting a really good result